If your award or company is not included in the Outflank database, you can add a custom job and set it to work however you wish. You will need to source your pay rates either from your payslip, your employer, or the award or agreement under which you're employed. To learn more, click Agreement Help. First, let's name our job. Now we can set up our position, which we'll call Level 1. In a custom job, the age and the contract type will not affect your pay rates in any way, but can be set for your own reference. Here you can see the default pay rates and where they sit on the pay grid, which determines when each rate gets paid. There are two pay grids, one for standard shifts and one for overtime shifts. When you are tracking your hours, you'll be able to select the shift type and therefore which pay grid is referenced. To enter your rates, click Customize Pay Rates. All of the pay rates are calculated by multiplying your base rate by a loading, so let's enter some loadings. And here you can see the calculated rates. If you are a casual, your ordinary rate will include a casual loading. You can also set each rate directly. In some cases, the loading is not a multiplier of the base rate, but is instead a dollar amount that gets added to the ordinary rate. In Outflank, a multi-rate pays one rate for the first few hours and a higher rate thereafter. The overtime rate is a multi-rate by default, but you can set any pay rate to work this way. You can also add as many additional rates as you require. To save your changes, click Apply. If you set a shift to be a custom shift, you'll be able to select which pay rate it receives. But to automatically use pay rates for certain times, they have to be added to the pay grid. So let's click Customize Pay Grids. Here we are looking at the weekdays of the standard pay grid, which you can see is set to be the ordinary rate for all times worked. But let's add two new time blocks, one for the first 6 hours and one for the last 6 hours, and set them to be the overtime rate. Click Apply and there's our overtime rate on the pay grid, which means that you'll receive it for these times without having to add an overtime shift. If you work as more than one position, you can add as many as you require here. For example, if you sometimes work as a higher level, you'll be able to select the correct position for each shift. You can see that the new position is still set to the default rates, but we don't have to enter all the rates again. All we have to do is click Customize Pay Rates, copy the pay rates from our Level 1 position, and change the base rate to that of our Level 3 position. Click Apply and let's also copy across our pay grids. And now both of our positions are set to work the same but with different base rates. If you receive shift work rates, you can add them as well. Shift work is a particular type of penalty rate that is applied to an entire shift depending on when it starts or ends, or when the majority of the shift is worked. Sometimes the shift must meet multiple conditions to be entitled to the shift work rate. The conditions within the blue border are known as a condition group, and a shift work rate can have more than one, meaning it will be applied to the shift if it meets the conditions of either of the condition groups. Click Apply and there's our shift work rate. That covers most of what you need to know to get started adding a custom job in Outflank, so click Next to save and continue with the setup process.